Hello, happy Tuesday. Happy first Tuesday of 2021. What's up? So I had this amazing question from my one of my OPC members. We have a Facebook group just for OPC members, which is onlinepilatesclasses.com. Anyone who is a member can be in that. And it's a really amazing group. They actually can ask me anything. They ask each other things and they support each other in their workouts, and I really love it. And this question came up from someone who just started Pilates this year. And I love the question. The question is, what is the Pilates scoop? And is everyone scooping without me? And so I thought it would be a really good question to answer here. I did a whole live for them about what it was. And back in the day, one of my favorite teachers, Brooke Seiler, wrote a book called The Pilates Body, and she talks about this Pilates scoop. And I think of it as more of like something that is like more of a visual cue rather than like a thing you could probably do. But there is this idea of this in and up situation happening with the front of your body, whereas the outside of your body is going out and down. So there's a two-way stretch that I talk about a lot in my Mastering Basics. But I want to kind of go over what I'm looking for when I'm looking at clients doing flexion, extension, other things. What is this Pilates scoop? So I don't use the word scoop. Unless it just comes out as like a Freudian slip. It's not my favorite thing because I actually could never scoop. Whenever a teacher told me that, I was just like, I don't know what you want. My belly button is way up here, y'all. Like pubic bone way down here, belly button's here. If I pull my belly button in, I have all of this that's like not being touched. Most people's is down here. It's a little bit more of a center of gravity, not for me. So when I think of a Pilates scoop, I'm looking for the longest flexion. So for example, in the roll up, what I'm looking for in someone when they come up is that they come up and over themselves. And how far away can my lower ribs, excuse me, get from my thighs? So I don't want to see someone here. I want to see as much lift as possible. So this has to pull in and up. And that's what I'm looking for. That's why I teach that elbow slip exercise a lot, where it's just feet down squeezing together and you reach one arm and the other arm, because if you are a sloucher, you're not going to be able to stay in it. So that's what I want. And so in flexion, we're looking for the longest flexion, just like an extension we are. So there is a scoop when you're on your stomach, but like the reality is when you're on your stomach, you can't be like that. It doesn't work. There's like stuff in the way. So what I'm looking for is that the length of the spine is as long of an extension as it possibly can. So I don't want to see this where it's all in the lower back. Now my stomach is pushing into the mat. I actually want to see my pubic bone reach long and down, and then the extension goes in the upper back, and there is this feeling of a happening in the front, but it's not like you've been carved out with an ice cream scoop, which is another thing I've heard. So some tools that you can use to find this long flexion, which would be connection from the pubic bone to the crown of your head, like the longest flexion possible. This is the Balance Body C Shaper. I really love it. It's not a classical piece of equipment, but it really does help teach you the longest flexion. If you want in on a discount code, make sure you hit up our notes below. We'll make sure that the link is to it there. So what I do is I get inside this, and for me, I'm a hypermobile body, so being low is not good for me. If you're tighter, lower is better. So for me, the challenge is a little more up here. And so then when I do the 100 here, I can feel, oh, I'm losing my length here, which means I'm not using this part of my abdominals very much. So I have to really use the feedback of this to get that longest flexion possible. It's super fun. You can also do the half roll back. I have a whole playlist with this piece of equipment that you can check out here. It's all free. Anyways, I love to warm up with this before I do a mat practice because it really helps my body not cheat with where I'm over flexible and skip where I'm really tight. I have a little band of tightness there. If you're not inclined to getting another piece of equipment and you have a small barrel or a spine corrector, you can actually kind of mimic that. You won't have the same feedback, but you would put this around. You can also do this with a ball, by the way. This is a little bit better than a ball because a ball is squishy and kind of lets you cheat a little bit more, but this would also be great. And you can do your whole ab series here, and what you're looking for is that nothing changes from the tailbone to the crown of your head. Even though the legs are moving, the longest flexion is still happening, right? So I'm not lifting my lower back every time I switch my legs. And so the small barrel helps me keep myself in flexion if you're trying to learn that position for yourself. So in my Mastering the Basics on the Mat, which is a workshop we have over at onlinepilatesclasses.com, I talk about the 5 spine shapes. So no matter whatever spine shape you're making, you are looking for this happening, but it's not a roundness of the spine always, because if you're an extension, you can't have a round, right? It doesn't work. So if you watch that workshop, you'll hear me talk about the two-way stretch. In every single exercise, there's this energy of half of your body going this way, the other half of your body going that way. If you can keep that action going, the scoop that is being described out there will just happen. I think of it, again, as I said in the beginning, more of a visual cue rather than like a physical cue. And I think that will help those of you who are human like me, and we just are like, where are my low abs? Do I even have them? Right? It definitely gets you from being a little obsessed and focused on one area of the body, because as we know, Pilates is actually about the entire body, the full body workout. And so if you're always focusing on just the scoop, you're going to miss out on everything else that Pilates has to offer you. So my big focus is find your connection to your center, work into your two-way stretch, and then just keep moving. There is this beautiful thing that happens over time when you practice with intention, as opposed to practicing and trying to be precious. You will see your Pilates practice improve. And if you really want to do that and do life better, join me at onlinepilatesclasses.com, where we have weekly and mat and reformer classes, and we also have some extended 50-minute classes that are available for an entire month, and you can check it out on onlinepilatesclasses.com. Thank you so much for joining. Remember to put comments below so we know what to film for you next week.